If you are starting a restaurant, a bar, a fast food outlet, or a cafe, there is something I want you to understand before you choose your POS system. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is starting with the wrong software. You set up your business, you buy a system because maybe it looks good, and start operating. 6 years or 1 year down the line, you realize that the system doesn't actually work the way your business operates. And again, you're back in the market looking for a new system. And do you know what that means? You have to migrate your data, retrain your staff, change your processes, and start all over again. But sometimes the problem isn't even the software. The problem is you didn't set things straight right from the beginning. Maybe you're opening your first restaurant and you don't know what you don't know. Or maybe you're learning everything as you go. Or maybe you've been in the business for years, but you have never really put proper systems and control in place. And if that is where you are, watch this video to the end. Because we are going to talk about the things that actually break or make a restaurant business. And then I'll show you how JiPOS is designed to help you put all those things under control. If you've been in the restaurant business for a while and you're looking for a management system, you already know the challenges. And if you're just starting, you will soon discover them. Purchasing, stock control, wastage, food costing, staff accountability, cash management, orders, kitchen operations, payments, customer management, and ultimately profitability. But here is the thing. Running a restaurant can be very tricky if you don't understand what to delegate, what to control, and what to pay attention to. Because you can't do everything by yourself. And that is why your systems matter. So, what does delegation actually mean? It doesn't mean giving people work and expecting them to do it correctly. Delegation means giving responsibility while putting controls around that responsibility. You didn't get me right. Delegation means giving people the duties and putting standard structures and controls on how they will be executing their duties on a day-to-day operations. Your procurement team should be responsible for purchases. Your storekeeper should control stock. Your kitchen team should be responsible for production. Your waiters should take orders. Your cashier should reconcile payments. And your management should be able to see everything that everybody is doing. That is where the standard operating procedures or SOPs come in. Before we even talk about POS, you need to understand your processes. Because software does not fix a business that does not have structure. Software should enforce and support good business processes or structure. And that is where JiPOS comes in. This one. This is actually why we wrote this book here. Avoid 5 years of failure. Because the idea is very simple here. Why spend 5 years making mistakes that someone else has already made? The book takes you through the things you need to understand to operate, manage, and scale a business. Because before you choose your POS, before you configure your systems, before you employ 20 people, you should understand how the business should work. We have provided a link below this video so you can grab a copy. It could save you the many years of learning through the hard way. So now, let's talk about the system, JiPOS. Now, this is the JiPOS dashboard, a restaurant, bar, fast food, or a cafe management system designed around the actual operational needs of a hospitality business. And as a restaurant owner, you shouldn't have to call your cashier just to try to find out how much has been collected. You shouldn't have to go through a lot of paperwork or handwritten notes just to try to understand your stock or your inventory balances. And you shouldn't even depend on spreadsheets or written notes just to try to understand what is happening in your own restaurant. You just need to see the business as it happens, real time, regardless of where you are. And this dashboard summarizes it for you. Of course, you can see your active users, your supplier balances, if any, your quick notifications down here in terms of items that need restocking, which is a very good report for you to be able to keep tabs with, your credit sales or open sales, and of course, those M-Pesa payments or your top 15 fast moving items or fast moving food items for this particular month. And of course, the total today's summary and money in, money out through the different payment modes. And down here, you should be able to see general business performance in terms of your expenses against your revenue. And rather than showing you a list of all these features, I want to show you something more important: the problems JiPOS helps you to solve. Because the question isn't, does your POS have this feature? The question should be, does your system give you control and visibility over your business, even if you're not physically there? Let's start with one of the biggest problems: procurement. This is an area many restaurant owners ignore, but quietly costs them a lot of money. A restaurant purchases food, drinks, packaging, cleaning supplies, and countless other items every single day. But without proper controls, purchasing can become one of the easiest places for money to leak out. And you need to know who requested the purchases, who approved it, which supplier supplied it, at what price, how much was actually received. Those are important things you need to know. JiPOS has it all through this rich purchasing module. It gives you structured procurement process. You can manage suppliers, purchase orders, receiving and keeping these purchase records from within the same system. So instead of simply saying we spent 250,000 on supplies, you can start asking the right questions. What did we actually buy? And where's the record? And from who? And at what price? And where did it all go? Which store that is? And you have a proof, a record, and a history of that. That is what we call control, visibility, and confidence in running your business. Now, let's talk about the problem every restaurant owner hates: stock disappearing. That is inventory. You bought 100 kgs of meat, you prepared the meals, using it and sold, but when you check your store, the numbers don't add up. Was it a waste? Was it overportioning? Was it spoilage? Is it the incorrect recording, or is it theft, or the item just found its wings and flew away? JiPOS, through this inventory module, you see, gives you visibility into stock movement from the time stock is purchased to the time it leaves your store and the balance is left. First, you have to register and configure your items very well. That is the buying price, selling price, reorder levels, name it, it's all here. Then you make a purchase through this purchasing module, which can be a direct purchase, let's say from the market or supermarket, or alternatively you want to issue LPOs to your supplier. You have all that information here. Once stock is received, it will move now from your holding or main store to production in the kitchen, or for sales in the bar, of course, through either acquisition, which you see here, or direct stock transfer, which also you see here. Once the requisition is approved or the direct transfer is completed, you'll have a record of those transactions in the system for eternity. And you can always know what was moved by who and who received them and when or at what time. A report you can filter or query from the system at any given time. In the kitchen, the items that are going to be used for food production can go through recipe, this production module you see here, which is a key tool to help you do correct food costing, because it already will show you what you incur to produce a particular dish or drink based on the ingredients and portions that you set. This information is key to help you set your markup price or the selling price, so you're not just selling food blindly. And you know, once you start selling, of course, inventory based on the portion that you set shall automatically be deducted from your stock, and you will see the real-time stock balances here. You can check for your kitchen, for a bar, or even for main store to know what you have left in real time. You don't really have to call anyone asking for stock balances. All that information shall be available here for you. At the bar, the same thing applies. You can do tots or even cocktails using this same recipe module. You all know there are those consumables that cannot be part of recipe, mostly pastes and spices. Such, you use this movement by cost module, where you simply record how much of a particular item you have used today for food production, any purpose, or for any other purpose, as you select the right cost center here to post them to. Can be for staff meal or buffet, or even for general food consumption or for food production. That transaction is key, very key, for two main reasons. It will help you know your daily, weekly, or monthly food costs. And also, it is a key report or a key part of your profit and loss. So at the end of the day, you know your costs against your revenue, which the revenue comes from the sales side. StockTake module you see here is very key, especially for bar and restaurant. And it's a practice that you can do daily. For one main reason, to help you detect stock deviations. You really must know how that is important, even without going into the details. If there is a waste, breakage, or damage, that will be recorded here against the relevant store and item instead of simply just disappearing from your stores. Now, to sum it up all, you'll have access to this report here called Items Consumption Report to help you know and see what stock we started with today, what came in today, how it moved out, and what balances are left, all in one window. I believe now you're picturing and seeing where we are headed, the visibility that we are talking about. So, management doesn't have to rely purely on someone's word or written notes. The system gives you the information in real time. You can now look at the numbers, understand them with ease, and make the right move. Now, we have seen how to do a purchase and how the inventory moves. Now, the main thing that we're going to talk about here is now the front of the house, now the sales. And the sales can be at the restaurant or bar, or if you have a gift shop or any other revenue point. In a normal restaurant setup, the sequences, of course, looks like this. A waiter makes an order through the point of sale, which you can see here as an example. Of course, a cashier will process or reconcile the payment to the correct payment mode. That is now on this at the back of end. We'll just match this sale to the payment mode it has been used to receive it. Someone gives a discount, someone cancels or voids an item, someone opens or closes a shift, so on and so forth. Without proper controls, these activities and others I have mentioned before can become very difficult to track. And JiPOS, through the sales module and workflow, gives you the user-based access and transaction visibility. You can set the rights and responsibilities of who is supposed to do what in the system. Of course, you can see that here. Your team can perform the tasks they are responsible for, of course, while the management retains the visibility over the operation through this module. And when the customer places an order, the order is captured digitally. No more relying entirely on handwritten notes. No more asking who took this order, who gave this discount, why was the transaction cancelled. The system creates accountability trail for all. And of course, in your sales list or in your sales history, you can see the transactions and how they happened, who did it, to which customer, what amounts were paid, and from which selling point, name it, and through which particular payment modes was it reconciled with. All that is here. And if you are running a bar, there is another level of control you need, which we call beverage control. You need to know what you're selling. You need to know what you are supposed to have. And you need to understand clearly your opening and closing balances and the actual consumption. Every bottle, every drink, every transaction matters. JiPOS, through the sales module here, this inventory module, and the consumption report connects your sales and inventory processes so that you can get better visibility into your stock movement and, of course, the corresponding reports. Because in a bar, small leakages repeated every day can become a very big number at the end of the month. Control the small things and you protect the big things. That's why I said StockTake's daily, especially for the bar, is very key, unquestionable. Now, we've talked about sales, purchasing, inventory, and payments, but there is one question that ultimately matters to every restaurant owner or any business owner. Where is the money going? And are we actually making money? Because running a busy restaurant doesn't actually mean you're running a profitable restaurant. No. You can have thousands of transactions every day and still have no clear picture of your financial position. This is where JiPOS accounting module comes in. And this is not just a simple sales report. JiPOS comes with a complete accounting environment built into the system. With this, You don't need any other third-party program because everything is here. And we have done the automation in that when you purchase, when you sell, when you reconcile your stock here and there, the right accounts get automatically journaled. So you don't have to do the hard accounting job. The system does it for you automatically. So you have got expenses where you can be able to record them, expenses and payments, budgeting, petty cash, income management, account types, chart of accounts, bank transfers, journal entries, cash flow, trial balance, balance sheet, profit and loss, general ledger, and VAT input and output, which are key reports that you need just to be pulling out. You don't have to do so much here. The system, just as I said, does the job for you. So the transactions happening in your restaurant aren't just sitting in a POS database. They can flow into your financial records and help you understand the actual financial health of your business. Now, one area I particularly want to highlight is petty cash, because in many restaurant businesses, petty cash is one of the easiest areas to lose control because someone requests money, someone else approves it, there is no clear record of its expenditure, and eventually the accountability becomes very tricky. JiPOS introduces what we call workflows and authorization controls into this process. A staff can initiate petty cash request, and depending on the organization's workflow, the request can go through the appropriate approval processes before the money is actually released. So you're not just recording petty cash, you're controlling how petty cash is requested, approved, and of course accounted for. That now brings us to the real meaning of JiPOS ERP. Your operational and accounting information can live in the same environment. Purchasing, of course, affects cost, sales generates revenue, expenses are recorded, payments, of course, are tracked, and all this contributes to the financial picture of your business. So instead of asking, how much did we sell? You start asking the right and the relevant business questions. How much did we spend? How much are our expenses? What is our cash flow? What is our profitability? And ultimately, is the business financially healthy? And now, we've come to another question, which every restaurant owner or every business owner eventually asks. What is actually happening to my business? Especially when you're away, you're traveling, or you're busy, you're taking an off, or maybe you're just setting up another restaurant elsewhere. The business has to run without you, but you will want to know how much have they sold? How much have they collected? What have they purchased? What is happening to the inventory? What discounts have been given? And what payments have been received through which different payment modes? What are the customers owing? Or what are you owing your suppliers? And most importantly, what do the numbers tell about the business? That is where JiPOS reporting environment, which you see here, becomes extremely powerful. Take the close day summary, for example. This gives management a consolidated view of the day's activity. You can see your store sales, payment distributions, collections, staff sale, discount, voided sales, complimentary sales, and cash collections. Let's say if you query this report within the day, but you can query this report for 2 days, for 3 days, for 1 week, for 1 month, for the whole year. You can even break sales down by category and see exactly what has been sold, of course, by items, categories. So instead of closing the day with a cashier simply saying, boss, today we made this much, you can actually open the system and see that for yourself. And this is where these reports become incredibly valuable. You have reports for item sales, periodic revenue report, purchases, general sales, item ledger, statements of profit, staff sales, suppliers, customers, account statements, customer balances, supplier balances, expenses, and much more. Every one of these reports answers a different business question. Where are your sales coming from? What are your best selling items? What are you purchasing? Which stuff is the best in terms of sales? What do your customers love most about your menu? What expenses are eating into your revenue? And when you combine these reports with the accounting information we just looked at, you begin to see your business from inside out. You are no longer just looking at a simple POS screen. You are looking at the business itself. So let's put everything we have seen together. Now, this is the bigger picture. Your restaurant needs a process for purchasing. Purchasing connects to your inventory. Inventory connects to your recipe and production. Your menu connects to your sales. Your sales connects to your payments. Your staff have defined responsibilities and accountability. And all these transactions feed into your accounting and reporting. That means the journey doesn't stop when the customers pay. That is where the real business intelligence begins, of course, using a system. From procurement to inventory to sales to purchases to payments to accounting to reporting, name it. JiPOS brings these core critical parts of your operations together. And remember, what we have just demonstrated are the key operational modules. If people management is important to you, then JiPOS also gives you additional capabilities including this core HR, performance management, payroll, leave management, attendance, and even SMS, bulk SMS integration, among others. So whether you're running a restaurant, a bar, fast food, or a small cafe or a big cafe, whether you're starting your first outlet or preparing to scale, JiPOS is built to grow with the needs of your business. You're not just buying a cash register, you're putting up a system around your business. You're creating visibility, you're creating accountability, you're controlling, of course, your costs, you are understanding the numbers. And ultimately, you're putting yourself at a better position to make the right decision to improve your profitability and scale your business. So, if you are opening a new restaurant or running an existing one, or you just want to take it to the next level, don't wait until you've spent 5 years learning everything the hard way. Start with the right processes, put the right controls in place, and choose the right technology that will grow with you. If you want to see what JiPOS can do for you, don't just take our word for it. Try it. You can get a personalized demo by clicking the link below this video to request for a demo or contact our team today. Because ultimately, the goal is simply not to have a POS. The goal is to run a better and a successful business. And you decide how far you want to take it. Thank you for your time and looking forward to hearing from you.